What is that? Literally, what is that? At EA, what are you doing? What are those?
What will you learn? What will you learn? That your actions have consequences!
Hi there, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. Either way, I'm super excited to have you here. As you can see, this is the first video on my channel where I'm using face cam, so welcome to my face. I don't know if you just saw the tail, but I do have two cats and they probably are going to be making guest appearances in this video. They have access to this room all the time and I didn't want to shut my door, so you might see them in the background. The one that you can see right now is Cole. He's a tabby. And then his brother Sebastian is also a tabby, but he's entirely black. They are related even though they look nothing alike. Sorry, I know you didn't come here for my cats, but that's just the content that I'm providing, so anyway, in this video, I decided to share my opinions that nobody asked for. No, I just thought it would be a good kind of, not first video obviously, but as I'm still posting more and more on my channel and it's relatively fresh, I thought that now would be a good time to rank every pack in The Sims 4, and I'm dividing it in between videos for expansion packs, game packs, and stuff packs because more content. And also I have a lot of opinions, so if I tried to rank every single piece of DLC that we've had for this game, which is a lot, we would be here all day, and ain't nobody got time for that. So we're just gonna start with the expansion pack, so let's get into it. Now, as you can see, I am using Tier Maker. I know that there are a bunch of ranking Sims 4 packs tiers on here already. I did end up making my own just because I couldn't find one that had eco lifestyle on it, and I wanted to make sure I included every expansion pack that's been released. Two of the icons don't match the rest of them. I'm sorry, I just picked the highest quality images I could find. I think I can link this down below. If I can, I definitely will, just in case you want to share your opinions too. Before we really get into it, I did just want to say that when I was originally planning this video, I wasn't sure about including an S tier, just because I don't feel like any of the expansion packs for The Sims 4 are so good that they don't need improvement. And so I don't know if any of them are superb or super whatever S ranking technically is. Originally, I was just going to take it off, and then I thought in the context of expansion packs for The Sims 4, there are some that I think are top tier, way better than the other ones, so I decided to keep the S tier, but just know I'm of the opinion that none of the DLC for The Sims 4 is perfect because The Sims 4 isn't perfect. At first, I wasn't sure if I wanted to start with the first expansion pack that came out chronologically, or if I wanted to start with the lowest ranking one, and then I realized that it doesn't matter because it's the same one. That's right. I would say that Get to Work is probably my least favorite expansion pack, and nothing against Get to Work. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. I just don't catch myself playing with it that often. The active careers are really fun at first, and then they just get boring, and it's so frustrating that your sim can't really get promoted without having at least some active days or cheating in there. I think that they're fun in theory, but it just doesn't have a lot of replay value. Once I've played all of the active careers once and it comes with the 3, I'm never going to use them again. So basically, largely for that reason, Get to Work is at the bottom. The retail system that it came with is really good and useful, especially for certain challenges. And I love the fact that you can own businesses, but again, it's just so repetitive. In the context of the game, it doesn't really matter what kind of store your sim has. It still functions the exact same way. Whether it's clothes or paintings or collectibles, it's all just a retail store. So I don't replay it that often. And the build and the buy is not really my style. A lot of the items were very clearly made for the hospital and the precinct and everything like that. So they're not really useful for residential items. And I think it came with 1 or 2 wallpapers, neither of which are good. So the build buy isn't great. The cast is all right, and the gameplay is fun but repetitive. So that's why Get to Work is at the bottom of the ranking. All right, now it's time for Get Together. We are going to go chronological, so let's put Get Together in its place. I think Get Together is underrated, and I think it is slept on. It is one of my favorite packs. The world that Get Together comes with is insane. Windenburg is the biggest world in the game. I think it has 27 lots. It's a very big world, and it has a couple of different styles, which is really cool and isn't that common for worlds in The Sims 4. It has a lot of the kind of more older European Tudor style, but the island in Windenburg is pretty modern, and I think it's really cool that they were able to mesh styles in a world and do it really, really well. I think that the whole world is really seamless with the different styles and areas, and part of it is a little bit more isolated. It's a little bit more countryside, and I really like that, as well as having a pretty decent downtown area that is, all paved and the community lots are visible and next to each other. I think that this world has a lot of variety, and honestly, the world is the main reason that Get Together is being ranked so high. The other main reason is the gameplay. I don't use clubs that much in the sense that they were advertised to us, but it is so useful for getting all of your Sims in one spot easily. In basically every save I have, I create a club that's just the family members so I can invite them all over or take them all to the park or something without making sure I didn't forget anybody. The clubs system is really useful, and in challenges you can also use it to kind of cheat the system because you get rewards points that can boost your mood or your skills. The cast is so-so, and the build buy is pretty good. If you want to build a kind of Tudor style house, you basically need this pack. So that's my ranking. Get Together, slept on, and this is the tea. I feel like I'm gonna get hate for this. Okay, let me explain. I do actually really like City Living despite just ranking it so low. I really liked it when it came out, and then as time has gone on, I've become less and less fond of this pack. So we are going to go over why. The main reason is just the fact that the world is so not really usable. Most of the lots are either apartments or penthouses, and while it's really cool that this pack added them, there's only so much you can do with those lots. You can't really build anything because penthouses still feel like they have to match the skyscraper, and obviously apartments are very set. All the exterior walls are set. The other main reason that I don't like it is limiting in a different way. Most of the apartments are either really crappy or really nice. The crappy ones, I wish you could just remove the needs TLC trait. I wish it wasn't stuck. I get that they wanted to add the extra gameplay challenge, but I wish you could take it away with a cheat or something. Then I would use those apartments a lot more, but as it stands, I don't really use them because it's so irritating. And then the cockroaches are always behind a piece of furniture that you have to go into build mode and move, and it's way more of a thing than it should be, in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of the stuck needs TLC lot traits. The other main reason that I don't love this pack is because of the festivals. Although I think they're really cool and they add a lot to the gameplay, one of the later expansion packs kind of breaks them. With seasons installed, a lot of the festivals are not nearly as fun, especially GeekCon. The computers are outside and they're not covered, so anytime it rains or snows, which happens a lot in Stand My Shoe now, everything is over. And you could argue that that's season's fault, but come on. When they were making City Living, they knew that they would be adding seasons, that they should have anticipated this issue. And the fact that it's still not fixed is really frustrating. The same thing goes for the Romance Festival with all those flowers that are outside. Most of the time they're dead because that festival always seems to fall in the winter for me. And I'm not ragging on City Living. I'm really not. I understand that most of that was negatives, but I felt like I had to justify myself because that is a pretty low ranking. I do still really enjoy the pack. I keep it installed all the time. I own it. I use it. It's just one of my least favorites out of the ones that we have. The cast is so-so, and while some of it does add really cool, diverse pieces, a lot of it isn't usable because it's so abstract. The build and the buy is pretty detailed, but it's not my style. It's really industrial and modern, and I kind of wish it was one or the other. And the couch that came with it, random thing to point out, I know, but the couch that came with it, what is that? Literally, what is that? At EA, what are you doing? What are those?
What are those?
They are my Crocs.
Hi there. Just thought I'd pop in and ruin the continuity of this video. No, but I'm just editing right now. As you can see, it is a different day because I'm wearing different clothes and my hair looks different because that's my life. Anyway, I was just editing this and I wanted to express a point that I feel like didn't really come across. This whole video is all in good fun. I just thought it would be interesting to share how I feel about the different packs for The Sims 4 and find out how you guys feel too. It's all in good fun. If you hate a pack that I love, that's okay. And if you love a pack that I hate, that's okay too. The great thing about The Sims is that there's so much DLC and it's all different. So there are some packs that aren't for everybody, and that's okay, because hopefully there's at least one pack that is for you. So just wanted to reiterate, this is all for fun. I'm not trying to bash on anybody. Please don't leave me hate down below. But I would like to engage in a fun, friendly, lighthearted conversation about what packs are your favorite and why. Sorry, go back to the video. Serious Natalie is outie. All right, so next is cats and dogs. I feel like the opinions on this pack are kind of twofold. The first is a positive in that pets are super common. They're a huge part of a lot of people's lives, and it's really nice to have them represented in The Sims. Although I know a lot of people were kind of upset that this pack only comes with cats and dogs, whereas previous iterations of the game came with all different kinds of pets. Other packs like The Sims 3 came with a lot more animals than just cats and dogs. It came with horses, and I totally understand that people feel that going from pets to cats and dogs isn't a good jump. You know, it's regressive instead of progressive, and I totally understand. However, she's going in the S tier, the fabled S tier. I know. I do have some complaints about this pack, but I put it up here because it is one of my favorites, obviously. I don't play without it. I can't play without it. Maybe it's just because I have pets, but I use this pack all the time. Almost all of my families have pets, and Brindleton Bay is my favorite world in this game. So I feel like for that alone, it has to be here. The build and buy assets are really cool. I really, really like them. A lot of them are that kind of grandma style, which we know I'm a closet grandma, so I'm here for it. I stand the grandma content. One of the biggest downsides with this pack isn't actually this pack, it's my first pet stuff, and we are going to go into this a lot more in my ranking stuff packs video that will be coming out at some point in the future, so maybe you should subscribe if you want to see that in the future. Maybe you should subscribe if you want to. Anyway, so my first pet stuff came with a lot of items that looked like they were supposed to come with cats and dogs. I blame my first pet stuff for that and not cats and dogs, which is why cats and dogs is ranked so high. And spoiler alert, obviously my first pet stuff isn't my favorite stuff pack. I think that the assets were originally created to be included with cats and dogs and then removed. So for me, it's worse that they were released later as part of a DLC. I don't blame cats and dogs, I blame my first pet stuff. So that's why she's in the S tier, even though she's a little problematic. I love her, I use her all the time, I use pets all the time. And that's that. The cast is really good too. I really, really like the hairstyles that came with this. The big, super curly, voluminous hair was one of the first big curly hairs that we had in the kind of new wave where they paid a lot more attention to hair textures and having more diverse hairs. And I definitely really appreciate that they did that. It took way too long though, obviously, but I'm just grateful that it finally did happen. And this pack was kind of the beginning of that. And I think that there's so much hype around this pack. I remember watching the trailer and the part where that little corgi was swimming in the pool was so cute with the little shark floaty. I'm here for it. Chef's kiss is perfect. The trailer for that also featured the wedding of a same-sex couple, Brent and Brant. They are also in the world. And so in the game, there is a gay couple, which I think is really cool. The Sims has always been kind of progressive in the way that you can make gay couples if you want to, but it was really nice that they were like, they're in the game, it's part of it. It helped to normalize everything, I think. And this is the first gay couple in The Sims 4. Came with this pack, and you know, I be gay, so we stand. We appreciate the representation. All right, time for seasons. Now, I don't think anyone is going to really be surprised by what I'm about to do. Based on the fact that I gave cats and dogs the S tier, I think it's only natural that seasons goes there too. This pack is so good, and I will fight anyone who disagrees with me. Not actually, but I just think that it's the best expansion pack in this game. The whole purpose of an expansion pack for me is to, shocker, expand the game, and nothing does that better than seasons. And I totally understand the argument that seasons and honestly cats and dogs should come with the base game. And while I don't necessarily agree because they never have in the past, and I think that it's something from a business perspective, it's something that a lot of people are going to want to buy. So as a company, it makes sense that EA makes it as DLC because they know that we are so likely to buy seasons and cats and dogs because those things are kind of essential for this game. I remember installing seasons and the whole game changed. It just completely changed the game. And every single sim day, seasons affects the gameplay. And I think that it's the only expansion pack that does that, except for maybe Eco Lifestyle. And because of that, it's ranked so high. It's my favorite pack. I think that adding the weather and everything like that just adds so much depth to the game and so much realism. I really, really like the way that they approached it, and I really enjoy the calendar that came with that update right before Seasons, and also the gardening overhaul that they did. Seasons came with one of the bigger free base game updates that kind of was released at the same time, and I think that it's always really cool when they update the base game, as well as bringing out new DLCs. It obviously didn't come with the world. I don't fault it, though, because it impacts every single other world, so I completely understand why it didn't come with the world, and I'm not going to dock it any points for that. And the style of items that came with it are right up my alley. Seasons is definitely the most craftsman pack out of all of them. In the same way that you kind of need get together to build a Tudor style house, you need seasons to build a craftsman house. And that's one of my favorite home styles. So it makes sense that I really enjoy this pack. It also came with the flower arranging and the bees and a couple of other really fun little gameplay items, as well as, you know, the weather patterns obviously impacting the game overall. I really like seasons. I don't think it's a crazy unpopular opinion to think it's a really good pack, but I do, so I had to put it at the top. Alright, so next up we have Get Famous. I think that I have kind of mixed feelings about Get Famous. I don't find myself using the gameplay of it that often, which is funny because that's, I think, what I look for most in an expansion pack. But it is a pack that is done really well, even if the style of it isn't necessarily my style, which is why it still ranks pretty well. The system that they use for fame, and is very similar to the system that they use for vampires with the unlocks and the rewards points, is so detailed and so well done. It makes it so that your celebrity sims can all be different and have different advantages and disadvantages, and it really adds to the replayability of having a sim be a celebrity. I also really like that they included the active career for the actor or actress. I think that active career is done a lot better than the ones with Get to Work, just because you can take different jobs and it can still feel different day to day, even though it is the same job position. I've definitely replayed the actor career more times than I've ever played either of the careers or any three of the careers from Get to Work. So I think that in terms of active careers, the actor slash actress one is my favorite. The style of the items that came with Get Famous is kind of twofold. There's the super modern, not necessarily modern, but super fancy, super expensive celebrity items that are in all the mansions, like the $15,000 chair or whatever it is. Like the items that come with that pack, some of them are ridiculous. There's the golden shower and the whole golden bathroom, and I don't use those items a lot, I think for obvious reasons, but it also comes with a really nice subset of more mid-century modern items, and those are definitely my style, and I use a lot of the items from Get Famous really frequently. So that's probably the main reason that it's ranked so high, is because the fame system is done so well and I use a decent amount of the items a lot. And I don't really love the world that it came with. I think that Del Sol Valley has a lot of potential, but I've noticed that the lighting in it is weird. No matter where you're building, you can't get good light, and that's super frustrating. And I wish that they had done the neighborhoods a little bit differently. I really like the kind of downtown area, and I like that there's the celebrity mansions in the hills. But I wish that there was more of a city aspect of it, because it's based on LA, and LA is a city. You know, there should be more of a city center kind of vibe in part of the world, I feel. Why are all of the lots in this world so big? Sometimes I don't want a giant lot. I just want to build a normal sized house, and when you have a house that would fit on a 30 by 20 lot, but you put it on a 50 by 50 lot, it just looks ridiculous. So I don't build in this world a lot, but I do use the build items, and I can appreciate that it was done well, even if it's not really my cup of tea. Oh, island living. I'm putting it in the same tier as Get Famous, but I kind of wish that there was a tier in between Get Famous and City Living, because that's where I would put island living. The world is gorgeous, there's no denying that. Sulani is done so well, the ocean world, the tropical, it's completely different from all of the other worlds in this game, and I think that the world is by far the biggest and arguably only selling point of this pack. Sulani is gorgeous, there's no point in trying to beat around the bush or deny that. I think that my biggest problem with this pack is that it is so lacking in gameplay. I remember when I first saw the aspiration for this pack, and one of the milestones is to lounge on a lounge chair 3 times or something, and then the other one is to grill food 6 times. It really speaks to the fact that there's not a lot to do in this pack. It's just all surface and no substance, which I feel like is a problem that this game sometimes has in general, so I was really disappointed with this pack.
I was rooting for you! We were all rooting for you! How dare you!
I think that the community expectations for this pack were really high because the trailers were amazing, because the world is so beautiful. And then when we got it and I played with it, and I remember within a couple of hours of playing with it, I was like, I'm never going to use this again. If you don't have a sim that's living in Sulani, you kind of forget about island living. At least I do. And while the cast is really good and I think really fits the style of the world, again, if you're not creating that specific kind of sim for that specific place, it's not really that useful. I think that I look for obviously expanded gameplay, but also expanded items and clothing and everything like that. And you always want to try and have stuff that is a little bit different but still blends in with the rest of the game, and by far I think the stuff with Island Living blends the least well. It is always so disarming when I see a Sulani sim not in Sulani, because most of the time they're wearing like a bikini top or whatever, and it just feels so out of place. And I think that a lot of the other packs don't really have that problem as much, so that's why it's ranked so low. I say so low, it's in the middle, it's not actually ranked that low. Part of me wants to lower it down to City Living, but I'm not going to, because there's nothing inherently wrong with it, the way that the City Living festivals are kind of broken. I think that Island Living is a pretty good pack. I think it's really beautiful, and I do find myself playing in the world sometimes, and I use the odd job system a lot actually, but I think that I really just wanted more. And it came with mermaids, but they were not fleshed out. We're going to talk about this more when I do my game pack overview, but one of the best things about the occults in The Sims 4 is the fact that vampires and spellcasters have a power system that's really similar to the fame levels in Get Famous, whereas mermaids don't have that. If your sim is a mermaid, there's not really any benefits other than that you become friends with a dolphin faster, and that's basically it. If the mermaids were more fleshed out the way that vampires and spellcasters are, I would be ranking this pack a lot higher. I think it would have given me the gameplay that I was looking for, but they didn't do it. So I don't know. I think that the mermaids are really cool. They're really pretty, and I like the way that they don't have the weird permatail thing that they have in The Sims 3. But again, they're kind of all surface and no substance. They're really pretty, but there's not a lot to them, and that's pretty disappointing. Okay, so I did close my door. We only have a matter of time before my cats come and start meowing at it, but my roommate is home, and I just wanted to try and like cut down the background noise in this video, because I do live somewhere with someone, and then I also live in a multi-story building, so I have upstairs neighbors and side neighbors, so I'm trying my best to avoid background noise, but it's kind of inevitable. So here we are. Next up on our list is Discover University, and let's see where she goes. Yes, next to Get Together, pretty high. Not quite S tier, but still a really, really good pack. I think that this is one of the most anticipated packs for The Sims 4, just because we got cats and dogs and then seasons really close to each other, and then for the longest time, anytime there was a new pack, all the comments were just,
Where's university? We didn't ask for this. Where's university? University.
and then we finally got it, and it was so huge, and I still think it's a really great pack. I love the fact that there's 2 different schools and 2 different campuses that you can go to. I think it really adds to the replayability level, as well as all of the different majors. Probably my favorite thing about university is that it does impact all of your gameplay if you have a degree, which, as we know, is something I always look for. So in addition to it affecting base game and university careers, it also affects other pack careers. So I don't remember exactly what the specifications are, but if you look it up online, there are university degrees that will help you with, you know, the detective career or the doctor career or the conservationist career. I think it's really cool that they've worked a lot on the cross-pack compatibility with university, because without it, the pack wouldn't be nearly as fun. Basically, any sim for any job can go to college if you want them to, but they also don't have to, and I think that that's really awesome. I really enjoy the world that comes with university. It is pretty limiting, which we know I'm not a fan of, but that's just because it has the 2 campuses on it. I rarely have sims that aren't college students live in Brightchester, but all of my college sims live in Brightchester, even if I have them in those 2 like starter homes in the center or in the like on campus but not dorm housing, just because I think that it really does feel like a college town, and it's fun to really embrace that storyline in The Sims. I know your Sims are technically young adults when they go to university, but I think it does add some teen content, which I'm always grateful for, because teens need more content. A lot of the life states do, but I think teens are really struggling to have anything that separates them from the young adult life state, and university is cool because it kind of bridges the gap between those 2. The cast that came with university. I'm not a huge fan of most of the hairs, although some of them are really good, but the clothing with university, I feel like was kind of this turning point. And then after that, the tiny living clothing, and we'll get there, but some of the eco lifestyle clothing. I think this is when the clothing got a lot more detailed and also more current without being outdated, if that makes sense. Because if the Sims team makes something current while they're working on a pack, by the time it comes out, it's already kind of outdated. But Discover University is that perfect blend of trendy, but not too trendy, where it definitely feels like something someone would wear currently, but not like it's going to be out of style in 6 months, which is a really hard line to cross. And I think they nailed it with the university cast. I really, really like the university cast. That's part of the reason why it's up so high on my list. And I feel like I always do have my Sims go to the University of Rochester just because it's a lot more my style. But I think it's really cool that there's the two colleges and that they focus on different things. I don't think that they've really taken that approach in Sims games before. Definitely not in The Sims 3. There was just the one school. So I think having the two was a really nice welcome change. And overall, for a pack that we waited so long for, I'm glad we had to wait because I think that that's what made it as good as it is. Last but not least, we have Eco Lifestyle. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is that it should have been called Eco Living. I understand that they call it lifestyle because it's not about the world only, it's also about all of the crafting and all of the things that you can do, like the different power supplies and energy and water supply that make it more about the lifestyle and less about living. But having it be so close and yet off is frustrating. I'm going to be honest. Whenever I look at the list of expansion packs, Discovery University and Eco Lifestyle always stick out like a sore thumb. For me, all of them are either Get To or Lifestyle, except for Seasons and Cats and Dogs. And those are both just what they are. So this should have just been University and Eco Living. But anyway, it's fine. I'm not upset. The reason I was kind of talking about University at the same time as Eco Lifestyle is because they both go right there. I really like Eco Lifestyle, and at first I was worried that it was just some of the new pack hype, although it's obviously not the most recent pack anymore. It is the most recent expansion pack. When the trailer first dropped, I think I, along with a lot of the community, were confused and didn't really even understand what the pack was, and we didn't ask for this, you know, all that jazz. And I know that there is an argument to that because we did vote for Eco Living as a theme way back when we did the votes for the Community Stuff Pack Laundry Day. But that voting happened a while ago, and we voted for Eco Living for a stuff pack, not for an expansion pack. So I understand both sides. But that being said, it is a really good pack. It came with a lot of gameplay, which is something that I'm always looking for. We've talked about this before in this video, and I'll talk about it again on this channel because it's the truth. But The Sims 4 has a real problem with style over substance, and I think the Eco Lifestyle gave us a lot of gameplay. The fabrication skill and all the different ways you can earn it with the fabricator and the candle making and the juice fizzing skill. I think that it's really welcome to have more kind of crafting skills just because I'm so tired of having my Sims be like painters or woodworkers only. It was really nice to have more options there. I think that Evergreen Harbor is cool. I definitely like the aspect of the environmental impact in the game. I wish it worked better though. I think a lot of people kind of struggle with getting the environment to either really green or really industrial, and then also keeping it that way. At least for me, it always just goes back to neutral. And I get that they're trying to make it like a challenge, but at some point it's like, let me have it stay green. You get Port Promise to industrial, and then the next day it's neutral, and then the next day it's green. I feel like I like the idea of that gameplay. I just wish they had done more to it. Although it is so really cool, and I'm trying to gather my thoughts on what to say about Evergreen Harbor, because at first I was really excited about the world, and I still think it's cool. Sorry, I keep using the same adjectives, but I don't play there that often unless I'm playing Eco Lifestyle, like trying to change the environment and doing all of the things. I don't just place my suburban family in Evergreen Harbor. And the neighborhood action plans are a very interesting concept in theory, and if they were less buggy and worked a little bit better, I think that they would be really good. However, the sharing is caring neighborhood action plan is the bane of my existence, and part of me kind of wishes that they weren't enacted in neighborhoods that you're not playing in, or if they were, it weren't any that changed the world, like sharing is caring and stuff like that, just because I hate turning up to the museum in Willow Creek and discovering that half of the paintings are gone because they voted for sharing is caring or whatever, you know. I think that it's an interesting concept, and I like the kind of passive gameplay changes. It feels like it's getting closer to kind of having that background story progression, but I don't like it. I want to have more control. And I get that I could go into like each household in every world and vote each week, but that feels like a lot. And you can cheat it, but you still, I think to cheat it, you still have to have a sim in that neighborhood. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. I'm sure you will. YouTube comments are great at that. But I don't know. I have kind of mixed feelings about this pack, but all in all, I think it is a really good pack. And I think the kind of journey that it went on from how I felt when I saw the trailer versus how I felt when I got the pack make it deserve such a high spot because it really blew my expectations out of the water. When we saw that first trailer, I would have placed it lower than Get to Work, I would have made a new tier. I was not excited. I didn't know what it was and I didn't like it. And now I think it's honestly one of the better expansion packs, as you can see. I think it's actually not a bad pack. I just counted and you can see that it's actually directly in the middle for me. Out of the 9 packs, it is the 5th one in my ranking. So I don't know how much that says because my top 5 are all in S and A tiers. So apparently I really like my top ones, have a lot of middle ones, and then have 2 that I'm just like, no, not worth it. Although I don't feel that way about City Living. I really don't. So I don't know. I guess this ranking is maybe a little bit skewed. I could probably add another tier and it would help even things out more. All in all, this is how I feel about the expansion packs in The Sims 4. I am going to link this template on Tier Maker in the description below so you can use it if you'd like to and share your unwanted opinions as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like and subscribe if you'd like to. Let me know what you think down below. Do you agree with me or do you have different opinions? Remember to have fun, stay positive, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.